Alright everyone, let's look at assemblies for the SOLIDWORKS exam. So in this video I'm hoping to show you how to do these couple of things, in no particular order: fixing and floating, coincident mates, offset mates, angle mates, mate face to a plane, mate to origin, concentric mates, frame view, center of mass, measure distance, and open compressed files. Let me put this away. So what we're going to be looking at is an assembly along these lines. Well, when you guys take the SOLIDWORKS exam, you will download the files. They're going to come compressed. So to example this, or to show you this, here I've made a compressed file. You just open it up. You can have it on your desktop or anywhere else. You'll notice it's compressed up here. If you click on the pink part, first you need to click Extract All. That's how we turn it from zipped to something that we're able to access. Alright, so now that I've done that, now I actually have access to these files. You want to be sure you save them in the right spot, somewhere where you can access probably your Google Drive. Okay, so we're going to be building our assembly with these guys. Let's go back in the SOLIDWORKS. Here's a completed version just so you can kind of know what we're building towards if you want to try along on your own. But let's just leave this off to the side and start a new one from scratch. Alright, so here we're going to do a new assembly. To start off with, the very first thing, guys, switch the units. That's really easy to forget. I've forgotten it numerous times and had to redo everything. So I'm going to go down here in the bottom right corner. Wants a piece first. Let me bring in a piece, then I'll change those. Wind turbine. Let's see. I should have named these probably a little bit better, but let me go wind turbine. And alright, we have our propeller. Let me just put this in here and get our units changed. Okay, units, I always recommend you guys be very intentional with these. I'm going to choose this. Most of the time it's in millimeters, but I'm going to go meters for now. Okay, we have that. I need to bring in a couple more parts here. Assembly, insert component. And now I'm going to need this cone. Oh, wrong one. Mouse. Pin. Enter. Want that. We want this nose cone. We want gearbox. So I'm not finding one of the parts I'm looking for. Let me go back over here and see if I can find that. Okay, here's our pole, and now just a final gearbox. In yours, it'll all be organized a little bit better than this is, so that should be just fine for you. Okay, so first things first, bring in all your parts. Here we go. Let's start off with, right at the start for your assemblies, if it's anything that wants center of mass, you're going to want to make sure you mate the origin of your main piece to the base. Also, whatever part you bring in first, it probably is going to fix that. I brought the propeller blade in first, so let me right click on this and see it was fixed. So I'm going to float that, which now lets it move. Right now everything should be moving. Alright, one of the very first things after you adjust your units is to make sure you mate the origins. So to mate the origin, I'm going to open up a mate here. And let's select the origin of our build space, the origin there. Now I also want the origin of this part. So for this part that is this pole, I'm going to click this drop down, select the origin of the pole, and tell those I want those to be coincident. Yes, select. Okay, so now that's there. One last thing, you probably won't have to do this unless you spin your stuff around, but for good practice, I'm going to do it. I'm going to mate the bottom of this pole here. I'm going to mate that to this top plane here, just so it doesn't turn or do anything else weird. I'm going to make those parallel and hit done. Okay, now I don't want this pole to move anymore, so I'm going to right click on it once I get out of the mates. I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to fix that. So now that's no longer going to move. Everything else still can. Okay, next let's go about putting this gearbox here on top of this pole. To do this, there's a couple ways we're going to do it. I see these bolts right here at the bottom. I'm going to use concentric mates to line up these circles perfectly with these circles. So let's have a look at that. Let's go mate. I already had something filled in. I didn't want that, so I'm going to right click and hit clear. I want this little circle here and this little circle there. We can have coincident, which means touching. Concentric means lined up. Really for this purpose, I'm going to go concentric. Just to demonstrate that, that means those will be lined up, and hit yes, okay. Now I'm going to do that with one other set of circles. Let's go. Notice I can still raise this. It's just lined up. If they're not set to touch yet, let me choose this circle here and this circle there at the bottom. Now if those are coincident and these other ones have to be lined up, I'm going to hit confirm, and notice that's set there, and that no longer moves. Okay, next, let's go ahead and put this pin inside of there so we can start to attach everything else. To do this, I'm going to select this circle and this circle. I'm going to tell those to be concentric. Concentric meaning just share a center point. Now if I grab this piece, notice it still moves in and out. It's just that this circle and this circle are always lined up. Alright, so let me let that be for now. Next, let's grab our propeller and let's put a propeller here on the pin. So I'm going to do another concentric mate. I'm going to choose this circle here, that circle there. We want those again to be concentric. Confirm. I'm going to hit this one because and notice this still moves, but that's just perfectly lined up. Next, let me put this cone on here. For this cone, I want this face right here to be attached to the back of the face right in there. Let me zoom in and make sure I select it correctly. So try to do a correct coincident, but that didn't go how I want it. Let's see what happens here. Nope, I don't like how that mate went. I'm going to hit Control Z and undo that thing. I went back too far. Alright, so that last mate didn't work out exactly how I wanted to. My Control Z messed that up, so I just quickly rebuilt that for you guys. Now let me redo this mate here. So I'm going to select this edge and its corresponding edge in this little cone up here. I'm going to make sure I get that cone exactly right. Let's zoom out. I accidentally selected the face. Let me deselect that. What I want is this other cone here. Oh, it looks like I've accidentally mated those together here. Oh, okay. Deselect that edge and that edge. Okay, that's locked in. Now I want these two to touch. So let me select this face and that face. Have those touch. Starting to look like a nice wind turbine here now. Now one of the questions that I've seen get asked is to give an offset. So let me show you guys how to do an offset mate. Let's say we want this face and this face. We don't want them quite touching, we want them offset. So if you look over here, these are where you can do the offsets. Let's say we want that at exactly, I don't know, 2 inches. So now that's perfectly locked in at 2. Let's see how this works. So it looks like that no longer moves, this doesn't move, this should still spin. Now another mate I've seen on here is to set angle constraints. So let's say for some reason, actually let me get a nice view real quick here. Alright, let's say we want the angle of this blade and this wall to be something specific. So I'm going to click this line and click any vertical line. There's a vertical line. And let's say I want that angle to be, right now it's set at 90. Let's say for whatever reason we want that at 50 degrees. So now that's set at 50 degrees. So that's how you can use an angle constraint for that. Okay, so now that we've just constrained that, this probably is not going to move. Great, that's not moving. Now a couple of skills I've seen them ask are to take some internal measurements inside of here. Now sometimes if you're trying to measure stuff inside, this current view is pretty tough. So let me show you a couple other views that are available. If you select this one, this is kind of a frame view. And now let's say if we wanted to randomly decide or measure a distance here, I can go evaluate up here, measure. And let's say for some reason I care about the distance from the back of this gearbox to, I don't know, let's go the back of the propeller. So I selected that. Here it tells me, oh wait. Okay, doing that measurement again. The last one I had something wrong selected. All right, so measurement tool, and you can measure the distance between any 2 points here. There I chose one piece, and let's say I again want maybe the very tip up here or something. Now notice it gave me a direct line. It gave me a straight one. So it's, in this direction, it looks to be 2. This direction, it looks to be 10. And the center distance from where I clicked to there looks to be a little bit further. So notice it shows me those couple of distances. Now the primary question I've seen along these lines is asking for the center of mass. First, I'm going to go back to kind of our traditional view and look at the center of mass. So for center of mass, we go up here in the Evaluate menu, click Mass Properties, and here we see the mass of it, we see our center of mass, and hopefully, if you did it right, your numbers will match these numbers for that.